Hello everyone, let's dive into XRP again. We're looking at the one-day chart right now, and we're sitting at $2.51. The entire market is waking back up. You know what always happens after these crashes, right? We get these insane reversals. I'm pretty confident we're going to watch that play out again. Meanwhile, there are still folks convinced XRP is toast. They're saying it's going to tank all the way down to 50 cents. Look, I just can't picture XRP ever touching 50 cents again. Sure, we'll probably see it dip and bounce around a bit, but going back to 50 cents, I'm not buying it. Here's what's wild though. Zoom out to the 1-year view, and XRP actually doesn't look bad at all. We're still sitting on a 367% gain. Yet the moment we see a crash, everyone acts like it's doomsday. This whole crash really exposed something important. These exchanges can't be trusted. They all crashed, every single one. People were locked out of buying the dip. They couldn't even sell their positions. Now check this out on the all-time chart. See right here? This is exactly where I've been pointing to, saying this is where XRP is hanging out, waiting for this breakout to fire off. Everything we've watched unfold recently, I think it's nothing more than a standard correction. So we've got a pro-crypto administration in place, and XRP's price just corrected itself. That's the whole story. But listen, I really don't think this run-up has even kicked into gear yet. I'm going to dig deeper into why I feel that way as we go through this video. Then you've got Bitcoin nearly touching $114,000 again. Man, I'm just sitting here waiting for this breakout to actually launch already. I totally understand. Most of you are feeling beat up right now. It's like clockwork in crypto, right? Things start looking bright, and then bam, something slams the market back down. All these people claiming they saw this dip coming, they're full of it. They just happen to get lucky. When you're predicting a dip literally every single week, take a wild guess what eventually happens. A dip arrives. Same deal with crashes. Keep yelling about a crash week in and week out, and yeah, one's bound to show up eventually. But you just lived through the most brutal crash in crypto history, and you're still here. I kept saying Trump would flip his script, and guess what? Trump comes out like, don't stress about China, we're all going to be fine. President Xi is someone I respect. He had a bad day. He doesn't want a depression wrecking his country, and honestly, I don't either. America wants to lift China up, not tear it down. And now, of course, we're about to watch crypto and stocks take off. White House official Greer is saying markets will recover over the next week. Even the vice president stepped up and confirmed President Trump is ready to sit down and work out reasonable tariff deals with China. J.D. Vance and his crew knew exactly what they were doing, planning to switch up the whole story as we rolled into this week. But let me remind you of something important. We're in a holiday weekend right now, and the stock market stays closed until Tuesday. That means crypto is probably going to start pumping before stocks even get their turn. So, rich dad, poor dad guy finally got his crash prediction right. But come on, how many crashes has he predicted at this point? He's constantly saying, pile into gold, stock up on silver, the crash is around the corner, grab Bitcoin, the crash is about to hit. And yeah, okay, this time a crash actually showed up. But if you keep repeating yourself nonstop, sooner or later you're going to land on the right call. It's identical to those folks screaming breakout every single week without fail. Eventually, sure, a breakout's going to materialize. Here's the reality. Nobody's calling this market perfectly, not even close. People catch a lucky break sometimes, and yeah, certain predictions end up pretty accurate. But I genuinely think everyone's sleeping on XRP this cycle. I believe it's heading way beyond what most folks are expecting. Even the cautious investors have bumped their targets up to the $10 to $13 zone instead of sitting at $7 to $9 like before. I'm telling you, we're going so much higher than that. Even the bulls are undershooting XRP's potential because they assume we're already midway through that monster green candle from 2017. I really don't think we've gotten there yet. So let's talk XRP price prediction real quick. XRP isn't hitting rock bottom until Bitcoin figures out what it's doing. Buy the dip? Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. Right now, we're basically Bitcoin's shadow. So when Bitcoin decides to nosedive and keep breaking down, guess what? Everyone else is going down with it. That's just how it works. But here's the exciting part. We're not going to be stuck to Bitcoin forever. I genuinely believe utility is what's going to flip this whole market on its head. Once we get proper regulations rolling and these utility-driven cryptos start showing what they can actually do, Bitcoin stops being the puppet master. What we're holding starts running on something real, something tangible. XRP doesn't need fake support like Bitcoin does, with Tether constantly printing money and shoving it into Bitcoin just to keep the price floating. That's the whole reason XRP is going to snatch that top spot away from Bitcoin eventually. It's built on legitimate utility and actual substance. Meanwhile, legendary trader Peter Brandt drops his bullish outlook on Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and XLM. Oh, and fun fact, this same guy was screaming about a major crash coming just last week. He's sitting there going, yep, I saw this crash coming from a mile away. So now suddenly, bam, he's back to being bullish because, let's be real, everyone and their grandma knows after a crash you get the bounce. So naturally, everyone's lining up to say, yep, called it. I told you this rebound was coming. But you know what this does? It absolutely wrecks new investors mentally. These fresh retail traders are getting completely thrown off by all the flip-flopping. Keep in mind, they literally just stepped into the crypto world. They're still figuring out what's even going on with this market. Think about how many brand new investors just hit the panic button and ran for the exit when this crash started rolling. I mean, can you picture it? People were probably losing their minds going, hold up, I was told crypto only goes up, and now look at this disaster. Everything's crashing down and my money's about to vanish. But here's what actually works. You do absolutely nothing, you kick back, and eventually the market does its thing and turns back around, then you're profitable. Patience. That's literally it. Just wait. Now, when you check out this chart he's breaking down, he's showing us we've literally lived through this exact scenario in 2017. See that brutal crash right there before the massive breakout? Now the debate is, we're sitting halfway up this first green candle right here. Honestly, a ton of people are convinced we're actually at this exact point, just holding our breath, waiting for this next explosion to hit. I think this is really hitting the mark. We've been sitting here waiting for this moment, and you know what? We might actually be living in it right now. I'd say there's a strong chance this is exactly where we are. But hey, we've still got to see how this whole thing unfolds. Take a look at this chart. It's showing us well over $100 per XRP, and I genuinely believe that's within reach. Let me break down why I'm thinking this way. Institutional money is about to flood into XRP the second those ETFs get the green light. Now combine that with regulatory clarity finally showing up and ISO actually going live. You're looking at the perfect storm coming together. Anyone who says this can't happen is just plain wrong. First thing out of their mouth, market cap from old cycles. But guess what? They're completely overlooking the market cap multiplier specific to XRP. So yeah, there's a very real possibility we're heading into triple digits. Will we rocket to $300, $400, $500 like tons of people are predicting? I'm not sure about that. But cracking $100 per XRP, that's got some serious legs. Here's something wild to consider. Anyone remember what went down in December 2017? When Binance completely tanked XRP from 36 cents all the way down to 0.001, then watched it surge tens of thousands of percent straight to all-time highs. I'm telling you, this chart feels like 2017 all over again. It was literally just a few days after that in 2017 when the bull run ignited. Look right here. You can see exactly when it kicked off, and then bam, this explosion happened. If we're following that same script right now, we could be staring down some absolutely insane numbers for XRP. We just need to see what comes next. I'm not going to sit here guaranteeing we hit these specific prices. What I am saying is there's a legitimate shot at triple digits becoming reality. At minimum, I'm expecting $50 just from ETF inflows by themselves because honestly, I think people are massively underestimating that factor. Crypto pulling this move? Zero surprise on my end. It's tracking the identical pattern we've seen before every single parabolic explosion. You always get this brutal dip first, like I was saying. We saw it play out from 2020 into 2021. Here it is again in 2025. Sometimes history doesn't just rhyme, it straight up repeats beat for beat. Maybe that's exactly what's setting up right in front of us. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we might dip again. That's crypto, right? But here's my mantra. Brace yourself for chaos, hope for the moon. That's how I roll in this space. Every time I hit record on these videos, I'm bringing that optimistic energy because honestly, I genuinely want to. You need someone in your corner pumping you up when things get shaky, reminding you why you're here. I refuse to be the reason anyone exits too early. We're all riding this wave together. Let's get wealthy as a crew. So Fed rate cut probability just rocketed to 98.3% right as we're seeing this beautiful relief bounce after that market meltdown. Wild timing. This basically hands the Fed a golden excuse to drop rates before this month ends. And when those rates fall, buckle up because this market is going to take off. Pull up XRP right now. See that? The rebound is already starting. Bitcoin's showing the same pattern, and honestly, every coin across the board is following suit. My prediction? This upward movement is only getting started because the tariff drama just completely shifted the story again. That's actually good news for us since the market can now readjust based on fresh information. As XRP holders specifically, we're sitting pretty. There's a whole lineup of catalysts still waiting backstage to make their entrance. Every single one that plays out just reinforces the same truth. Our trajectory is pointing up. Until we see it happen though, here's the game plan. Keep your cool, keep that positive mindset locked in. All right, friends, that's a wrap on this one. Appreciate every single one of you watching, and I'll see your faces in the next video.